You know what would just be so special right now?
Tell us, Tommy. Tell us.
It's like if we could have some special guests with us.
But not just
maybe
normal guests.
Yeah, maybe ones that
Special.
use a really special platform to leverage their success for the gospel.
Yes. But I'm thinking specifically of one where like the husband really just carries everything for his wife. You know, just that like his ministry, just upholding her in it just would be awesome.
You know, I know
maybe in the world of athletics.
Yes, but not normal athletics. I'm talking extreme athletics.
Sports.
Yes.
You know, it sounds
Something
like
aquatic.
Oh, you're going too far.
I'm out. I don't know anybody like that. No, I'm just kidding. Our next interview, Kyle.
Who is it?
My friends Kevin and Emily Durham are here with
Hey!
Great, guys.
Thank you guys for coming over and joining us here tonight on our live stream. Yeah. And I know you guys have been kind of sitting out there for a while waiting.
Long time.
Here you are.
Yeah, there's no more taco meat back there or anything.
Put it in the fridge. I tried to stop
everything.
them.
He ate all the cookies.
Yeah, the chicken's cold now. If you were one
from the chicken truck.
From the chicken truck.
Every interview.
This is a live comedy show out here.
Yeah.
It's been funny.
Oh man. Well, thank you guys for being with us, and we actually have a little clip to show. Let's show the clip first, Paul, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Kevin.
Gonna do a couple tricks to get warmed up here.
This is actually Word of Life Island in the background, and this is Emily wakeboarding right here.
You get that?
This is a live show for the island campers that we did a couple years ago. So big front roll.
Little scarecrow.
Oh, scarecrow, yeah, because it had a 180, right?
Look at that antique boat there.
And then look at all the campers right there, right by the boathouse. Heel carve. What was that? A heel side?
A back roll, yeah. Tommy, you do that, don't you?
Yeah. No, I can't.
No, actually, no.
Okay, so that was the clip just started over, but that's a clip of Emily wakeboarding. And so Emily, you're a professional wakeboarder for how long?
I was a professional for 16 years.
16 years. Three-time world champion.
Yeah.
Is that right? 3 times? Or was it 5?
Well, it was 3.
Or
it was
was
not
it 15?
5. It was not 5.
Feels like 5.
I mean, that would be cool. But
Have you won
actually,
every
like
single wakeboarding championship
She
there
has
ever was?
for women's.
Yeah.
She's won every major women's event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
At least once.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I
Not all
retired.
of
I
them.
think you meant every single one that was ever held.
You know
all
how
of them,
like
forever.
how like if in the show business, if you win like a, you know, you get all of them. You get a Tony, right?
Yeah, well, no, the EGOT, because you get the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the
I
Tony.
think if you win every women's like you ought to get the Emily.
The Durham.
The Durham.
Oh.
The Durham.
Oh.
You know? So
That
just
would
shout
be-
out to
Well, were
anybody
you
listening
Durham when you won
or watching.
those things? Were you already Emily Durham?
That's a personal question.
I mean,
Wow.
halfway through. We got married.
Yeah.
I was 19.
Sorry.
It was
She only got better halfway
That's
through.
why
it was
she
a
goes-
hyphen, okay, it was Copeland Durham.
Copeland Durham. Yes, Copeland Durham. They actually call her the first lady of wake because she kind of was the first one to come in and really dominate the sport. Yeah. And then let's talk about
That
Kevin.
makes me the president.
Let's talk about Kevin. Yeah, Kevin, the president of Wake.
Wow.
Feels kind of good.
Kevin, where did
Kevin
you
also does cool things.
Kevin, where did you get your start?
First husband.
I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess just natural.
Wow.
All natural.
Kind of came to me.
He's never even really tried. It just came that naturally.
No, actually, I was, this is before like YouTube, right? We had we VHS tape, and me and my friend would go up in this. Worked at a camp similar to Word of Life, but not as good.
Hey.
How's that plug?
Sorry, Matt.
Give now. No, so we'd do wakeboarding during the weekends. I would teach it at this camp, and we would learn how to wakeboard, which was funny. Like I applied for the job coaching wakeboarding at this Christian camp, but I'd never wakeboarded before. Like I'd actually did it once, and I had a hard time getting up. But I was like, I'm confident I can get all these kids up on a wakeboard. But
That's
I better
actually
video this.
not super surprising to two guys that run camps. We are very familiar with that type of
fake it till you make it.
logic. Yeah.
Anyway, we would rewind and watch the trick that we wanted to do, and then we'd go out downstairs into the boat on the weekend and go out and try it and crash like crazy, and then go, wow, let's not do that again.
But then the video he was watching was Sean Murray, and which happens to be like his best friend now. So it's kind of a crazy
That's
story in
cool.
itself. Yeah.
That's pretty wild. So, real quick, Kevin, all joking aside, you do like wakeboarding, but you're
Yeah, I
not
love
professional at it.
once I got married to Emily, I realized like, you know, I'm never going to be as good as her at that. And so just trying to hang it up, you know, too many concussions. And, yeah.
You don't want to mess around with that.
No.
But you do have a ministry that you founded and that you run called This Is My Story.
Yep.
And you guys help. Well, you tell me about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, Emily was, you know, competing when she was 14 years old in wakeboarding. I was in Texas, and we met in this kind of crazy way. I saw her in a magazine. It's a little bit of a long story, so I won't do the whole thing, but said I was going to marry her before I'd ever met her. You know, I just read this article, and I was like, man, I told my friend at this camp, I'm going to marry this girl. And it was 2 years after that, I met her friend, and through that, met Emily, and then 8 months later, we got married. It kept this magazine. If I had it here, I'd show it to you. She looks really good. You know, the title of it says Her Airness. I mean, that was Michael Jordan's title. You know that, right?
Come on, that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. I was like, man, between like her standing on the back of that boat and the mountains in the background and these amazing questions about her faith in God, I was like, who wouldn't want to marry this girl, you know? And so all my friends were like, bro, you'll never meet this girl. And I'm like, psh. If they could hear me now, you know. That's
right.
But that's it. If they watch the live.
That's right. If you're live.
And you too could give.
If you're hearing this. No, so that's been 18 years. And, I mean, by God's grace, we're happily married and still.
So how he started This Is My Story, though.
Yeah, sorry, that was a long.
Yeah, well, because he worked for Nautique Boats. I was sponsored by Nautique, and he became the team manager. So he was actually my boss. And his job was to tell stories.
I don't recommend that.
his job was to tell stories about the athletes and how awesome the boat is. And so we'd be like, oh yeah, the boat's so great. You can land any trick behind this boat. Or you need to buy this boat. Well, then he had this epiphany laying on the couch, and he's like, I need to do this for people's stories of how they came to know Jesus. And so that was kind of how telling athlete stories, basically, of how they came to know Christ. And then it's changed into something so much more, which you can explain.
Yeah.
But.
Well, actually, I want to talk about that real quick because just a few months ago, you were up in New York with me at the Bible Institute, and we had our second ever story conference.
Yeah.
And you and our friend Matt, who wrote a whole curriculum for how to discover your story and then how to tell your story, and we did that whole curriculum with our entire first year class.
Yeah.
So almost 300 students went through that, and they're right now in the process of recording their stories using their cell phones after they've gone through this whole process that they have to really discover their story, and it's not just like surface level like story. It's a kind of a deep dive into your story and how God created you and how he's redeeming us, the broken parts of us, he's redeeming them. And then we've challenged those students to take that story, to record it, to upload it to social media as a testimony to what God has done in their life. And we did this last year, and we actually shared the gospel through those stories over 60,000 times.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so we're obviously still in the process this year of the students are even just now recording their stories. But it's a really, really powerful – it's powerful on two fronts because it's really powerful in the life of the students. And that's something that Kevin – does so well is it's what I love so much about This Is My Story is one of the I would say one of the missions of it is trying to like help people understand the student who's like, well, I don't have that good of a story. That's like Kevin's specialty.
Oh, you're gonna buy me a cup of coffee when this is over because
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, dang, my story's so good. This one's on me.
Yeah, that's Kevin's specialty right there, is helping those students realize that their story is really powerful and that they can use that. It's powerful for them, but then the chance for them to be able to share that publicly with their friends and family members is also a really powerful ministry, and it's cool how God's allowed us to partner together on that.
Yeah, when you first contacted us, you know, it was like I saw Tommy on Facebook, and it was back when he had like a college shirt on, and I was like, man, this guy, there's no way this guy's ever been on a wakeboard or any other kind of action sports. He looked straight up like high school senior
top
photo.
buttoned as
top
well,
button up.
you know. Yeah.
And I told Emily, I'm like, this guy sounded kind of like a skater when I talked to him on the phone, but his Facebook profile photo looks nothing like what he sounded. So when we got to the airport, I was like, all right, where is this guy? I think he's gonna be wearing like a collared like gecko shirt. And he showed up like you are now, you know, hat, t-shirt. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like my family here. Like we're on the same level, you know. But you know, thinking about like the athlete transition for us, like when we think about stories, it is often like in our estimation of a good testimony, it's like, man, look at this guy. He has an amazing platform. It's so big. He can reach people. He's also a professional athlete. But when you really dive into it, all the athletes' testimonies that we did, every one of them came to me later with this new recognition of like how good their story really was. And it really, that's in the interviewing process with them, I was learning more and more about the work of the gospel in all of our lives as I heard their stories. At the same time, they were also diving much deeper into their testimony than they had ever done. And in that process, I started realizing, along with traveling and asking people what their story was, that we had it backwards. You know, the story isn't about our platforms. It's about Jesus and his platform.
Amen.
And then B, most people don't believe that to be true for themselves. And so they would leave a good testimony from a church or hear one on a video and walk away and say, that's a really powerful story. But as soon as you flip the script and say, what about you? What do you think about your story? Very, very, very seldom would you ever hear I ever hear anybody say like, well, yeah, let me share my story with you. And so that put me on a path with the Lord where I was becoming more and more frustrated with that problem. And because Jesus is the story. So when we start to think about what's your story about, if you don't go to Jesus, then you're already starting on the wrong foot. Like you're already starting to build your testimony, a foundation for your story on the wrong thing, yourself or your circumstances. And Jesus is already saying like, I am the story in you. And if you'll do the harder work, you know, looking at the evidence for things, that's like your Sherlock Holmes for your story, you will discover Jesus is all over the place. And then you'll walk away and just go, this is cool. Like God's doing things in my life. He just didn't save me, but he's saving me every day. And I have a story about his gospel transformation in my life every day. And to see Word of Life believe in that same vision that Jesus is everything in people's lives for their story is definitely solidified our partnership with Word of Life. Like, you know, big time.
I just want to give a quick plug because if you guys you're interested at all in what you just heard Kevin talking about, you actually just launched a podcast recently, and that podcast represents what you're just talking about, helping people tell their stories, and you kind of are interviewing people about their stories and bringing to the surface some of those things. And there's some amazing, powerful stories on there. So we would encourage you guys to check out. Kevin, what's the best way for them? Do they just search?
Yeah, go to thisismystory.org, and our new site launches next week too. So the curriculum Scarred for Good will be on there, and it's what all the BI students went through. And
so we definitely want to encourage you to go out there, check out that podcast. You'll be inspired by the stories, but I also think maybe even more importantly, you'll learn about your own story, and it will reveal to you some of the things that God is doing in your own life and in your heart. Let's throw that picture of Emily up real quick. This
Which one
was
do you have in mind? This one?
Yeah, this one right here, Emily. Because
shout out to Andy.
That's
too.
a wrapped KJV
Surf and
that
screw.
you're doing right
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
Which we always kind of laugh about. Is a trick that Emily was the first female to ever land the wrapped KJV.
Wowza.
And
Did you just say the wrapped KJV?
KGB.
You know, but let's go with KJV. Let's go with KJV.
Better.
Yeah. Because we don't want to go down the other path.
Version.
The
Yeah.
rapper King James.
Thou dost flippest is the KJV.
That's funny.
Yeah. She thou.
But yeah, and also shout out to our friend Andy, who's a retired professional snowboarder, Olympic snowboarder, who you see there on the tube. But this is
And
up at
the
at camp.
namesake of a special drink.
Yes, Andy
Yeah.
Finch.
Yeah.
Andy Finch.
Yeah, Andy Finch. So let's talk real quick.
Andy.
This is at this is on Scroon Lake. This is we're a part of Wake Camp. So Wake Camp's kind of the thing that initially brought our ministries together. And every year we teach a bunch of campers how to wakeboard on the island.
Yeah. It's super fun. So we come up every summer. We've been doing it for like 9 years.
I think it was our 10th year last year.
10th year?
Yeah.
We didn't celebrate.
I know.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we have to go.
We were too busy walking.
We'll just pretend like we skipped a year, and then we'll call this year the.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 75th
We'll have
anniversary.
pizza. It's
you
kind of like the
know?
75th
Yeah.
anniversary. Yeah.
But it's the best week at camp. So yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the best. No, kids come and like literally just sign up to wakeboard, and they get a lot of riding in. But I think the coolest part is just like really getting to pour into these kids, and they get to, I think, just like breaking down those walls of even some of them have never wakeboarded before, and then so they're like getting over a fear maybe, but then also so you kind of get to just like get a little deeper dive into them by just letting them open up, and also just just having that fun and God's creation on the lake, and we do like Bible studies with them, and we just have such a great time with them. I really do look forward to that week every year at Word of Life, and it's so cool how we can partner and do all this stuff
There's
together.
another picture with the boathouse in the background there.
This could be you in only 3 days.
What else we got? What
we've
else
had
we
some
got?
backflips happen, right?
We have had
Campers.
some campers land
have come,
some.
they've learned a
some
backflip
flips.
within 4 days.
We got
Actually,
another
girls
one.
and-
I see why you call her airness. I mean, that's pretty high. How high off the water are you right now?
I don't know, maybe like 8-10 feet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's high.
She can get
Where?
higher.
We got another one.
Which one do you have in mind?
Oh, I
have
don't
a
know.
couple
Just
here.
one of the other ones. There was
Let me see here. I got one here.
Oh yeah, that's the wrapped KJB. We saw that
You
one.
saw that one.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh yeah,
That one I didn't pull
That's a
that
good
one up
one.
yet. Which one's that?
that's a scarecrow.
yeah, that's a scarecrow.
I have
I
a
only had a
minute-long
brain.
video that we have here. I could show that quick.
Good one.
Oh yeah, let's watch that little video clip. The one
That was a
from,
clip you were trying to show earlier.
it
that
was.
I
It
clipped the
was.
wrong one.
Yeah.
Now I have the right one.
Okay, let's
Okay.
see that one.
Okay.
Every time.
I'm tired of chasing you down. I need serenity now. Was it too much to ask for on the west side? You're my blind side. You've got something to prove, but I got nothing to lose. Here I go, insane. No, when you say no, I go insane. No, I'm going up. I don't even wanna prove. Yeah, I finally found proof. Got that look in my eye, the feeling inside, and I know I'm on the move now. Hey, whoa, I finally found proof. I'm tired of chasing you
So,
down.
I just want, it's obviously, we've already talked about you're a great wakeboarder, but one of the things I think that's special about Wake Camp and even about our partnership is it's really not about the wakeboarding. We are using wakeboarding, we're using Emily's talents and Kevin's talents as a coach and as a rider.
Yeah, and Andy,
yeah,
and Sean.
tons of other athletes
Matt
that you guys have
Mazzari.
had over the years. But yeah, it's really not about wakeboarding when they come to Wake Camp. Obviously, we teach them to wakeboard, but we are just using that as a vehicle, as a way to, tell them about Jesus and show them that you can have a lot of fun
Yeah,
and still follow Jesus.
yeah, it's true.
I think that's what's really cool about Word of Life and why we are excited to go back every year is because it does give, I retired 6 years ago, and so it's such a cool way that I can still share my faith, and these kids, I don't know, it just breaks that barrier with them of just getting out on the water and doing that, and it's just this platform, and I think just it's cool, that Word of Life uses action sports. Some of the athletes we brought out are tattooed up and have dreadlocks or whatever, but yet that is going to reach a kid that maybe would never hear the gospel. And so I just think that's using action sports in a way I think is just an awesome thing that Word of Life does. Yeah.
And we could we haven't even talked about American Ninja Warrior at all
come
yet.
on.
I saw these trusses behind you, and
Yeah,
I'm man,
yeah.
we just need to turn them
That was
sideways.
probably one of the coolest videos that we got of her that we showed at summer camp, because you see this girl step up and you're like oh, is it? But then some of the stuff that you pulled off, we were just listening to the campers go dead silent was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty
So
awesome.
both of you have actually competed on
Yes.
American Ninja
Are we
Warrior.
gonna talk
We don't
about
know.
me,
We don't
man?
have time
We don't
tonight
have
to go all down that. But Emily, you've been on the show
5 seasons.
5 seasons.
Yeah.
On American
Vegas
Ninja Warrior.
finalist.
Yeah, I made it
Vegas
to the finals in Vegas.
Yeah.
And
So
I
That's
haven't-
really, really hard to do. If people are listening, they're like, "What's Vegas finalist?" Ninja Warrior, Google that. It is very, very hard to make it to Vegas. And
I just want to ask you one question about American Ninja Warrior. How far do you think Kyle would make it through the course?
Be kind, Emily.
I
be
think
honest.
you could make it.
Across a little stepping stone jumping thing.
I think you could make it to the second,
Thank you.
maybe third obstacle. I know.
Thank you, Emily.
Now, what about Tommy?
Yo, let's be
Tommy's
real though.
been working
that first
out.
obstacle.
Tommy has one of those warped walls.
Yeah.
We don't have that warped wall on
We
our
have the warped
Shavante Ninja
wall.
Warrior
He
course.
practices.
Yeah.
Have you made it up your warped wall?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Without help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can
Wow.
get up the warped wall.
Kyle, if you come visit us this summer at the island, we will give you the opportunity to try the warped wall.
Promise? David, I will be right behind you. I will be
I've
right
done it.
I'm proud
On
of you.
period.
How tall is that? How tall is that one?
It's not regulation.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
12
it's not-
feet.
Actually, Vic helped
It's
us.
4 foot tall.
Vic helped us kind of get the shape for it. So yeah, I think it's 10 feet maybe. Is it 10 feet? I
Yeah,
don't remember.
I think
It's
so.
10-foot wall.
Yeah, the real one's 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
the-
Have you gone up the warped wall, Emily?
I have. I mean, I have not on the show, but I have
Oh,
made
okay.
it. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I practiced the warp wall, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. It's scary to get up that real one.
Real quick, guys, we're coming down to the end. I mean, we could talk all night, but I just want to ask you guys real quick. So your kids, Hope and Noah, they've come to camp a couple of times, and do they like it? Like, what's their experience?
Yeah, it's our daughter Hope. It's her highlight of her year. Like she'll start planning out, what camp is going to be like, where she's going to be. She remembers her counselors. She still writes letters to some of her summer.
She was at the
cabin
Ridge
mates.
this year for the first time.
No,
So.
bro, at our house in Orlando, Florida, I get mail from Charlotte. I don't know where Charlotte lives. But all I know is it says Hope, and it's from Charlotte. I can barely read it. It's no offense, Charlotte, if you're listening. But man, I mean, just like, the relationships that she's building with her counselors, it's real, and it's deep. It's not about anything other than their relationship with God. So they go there, they feel like she belongs to that cabin group and to all the girls. But then to build lasting relationships, where your pen pals is pretty remarkable. Her faith has grown a ton since she's been coming. And our son Noah, he's 8 now. He went to camp for the first time this year. I'm not sure how he's. All I can tell you is he ate a ton of sugar.
Hey.
I don't know if one time we showed up, he had a sucker lollipop in his mouth and one of those sugar spritzers, and he was doing this one in his mouth.
But he had a lot of fun. He was dirty and tired, and I mean,
And we
was
were there,
awesome.
obviously, like doing
Yeah.
ministry at Word of Life at the same time our kids were in camp, and so we'd try to go visit him, and he would just totally shush us away, like, well, hey Noah, hey buddy, and he's like, hey, and he was gone, like him and his buddies.
So there's no shine for him when the stars of camp and all these things come around. He's like, "You're just mom and dad. Get away."
yeah,
Pretty much. I mean, they're having so much fun. and-
Yeah, now we'll say this, Hope
Yeah.
Hope is like chip off the old block, following Emily.
Nice.
And so she makes it up to the top of this obstacle course. I think it was the climbing wall or something, and like had to beat this record, So of course she's there, like the only girl at the camp at that day 2 or something. We find out and she's so proud, right? She's
That's
like,
so cool.
but it's also probably like to a detriment when you're the daughter of a world champion and an American Ninja Warrior. We have to kind of coach her to get
She is,
involved
though.
in sports.
It's cool. Like I love that our kids get to go there and that are part of Word of Life, because I do
Yeah.
think I see Hope. I mean, she's almost 12, so just seeing her relationship with the Lord like flourish. Like I know Noah will follow in that too. I mean, he came home, wanting to read his Bible and that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see that in our own kids.
Cool. Well, one last question for you guys. Obviously, this whole thing is for Giving Tuesday, and we're trying to raise money for that Life Change Scholarship Fund. And you guys have been able to be around Word of Life, and you've been able to see the life change that happens. What would you say, kind of as an outside voice to somebody who's kind of considering giving tonight?
Yeah, you want to go?
I mean, I would just say that it is probably one of the most life-changing things I think that you could send a student to. I don't think that your life will ever be the same. And we do ministry across the country, like to kids all over the place. And so many kids' stories so many adult stories. I went to summer camp and I got saved. And I think that as like you see that it is a milestone in kids' lives to go to camp. And I don't think that, and I think for kids too who may not have the opportunity to do something like this all the time with a scholarship, I think it really might be the most important moment in their life. And it could be like the life change that, will be carrying into their stories when they're in their 40s and 50s and say, yeah, when I went to camp when I was 12 years old, I gave my life to the Lord, and so I would say 100%, like if I was going to give to something, this would be something that's worth it for sure.
Yeah, and I would echo too that Word of Life is so clear on presenting the gospel, every week. Usually it's the Monday or Tuesday of the week. And we've spoken at a lot of camps and done camp ministry across the country, like Emily was saying. And this at Word of Life, and you can trust that every student will understand the gospel very clearly. It will be presented. It will not be watered down. And so if I was investing in something eternally, a Christian ministry, I would just want to know that that was the priority and that I could trust that my money was going to sow seed into something that was biblical and that was not ashamed of the gospel. And it's at the same time, there's no shying away from fun or excellence in what Word of Life does. And I think that's like having the gospel be presented clearly and having everything done with excellence, to me, is across the board unmatched, like in any camp that we've ever gone to. And so I would say that to end that, I would also add that going to the BI it's like you can go to see camps. I went to a Bible college, but we didn't have a summer camp. Well, now you can go to summer camp, and then God could speak to you and say, look, 1 year of your life you can give to studying the Bible at the BI. And you're already familiar with Word of Life as a camp, and now you get introduced into studying the Word of God, like for a semester or a year of your life or 2 years of your life as a college student. And then you also do ministry. It's a dream package. So if I was going to give money, it's not that I just want you to get saved. I want you to get saved, be discipled, study the Word of God, and have a community of believers. I honestly feel like Jesus, obviously he's called people to start Word of Life fellowship and camps and Bible institutes around the world, and for good reason, because it's holistic, right? And so I just see your money going to something that is holistic and biblical is like a surefire way to get a return. So
awesome. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for coming over and being a part of this. Check out that podcast. Thisismystory.org. You're really going to love the podcast, hearing those stories. And just thank you guys again for being here and for your partnership with Word of Life.
Yeah. Thank you for always having us back, and we're honored to be a part of what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Yeah, we're blown away, man. I was listening to all the conversations about Word of Life Global International, and we often just think about Florida and New York, but sitting in the green room in there, or whatever you call that room in there,
brown room,
eating burritos is phenomenal. To think that God is doing things at Word of Life and here in Florida across the world in different capacities, in some ways way larger than what's happening here in Florida and New York. And so, it opened my heart up a lot.
Well, that's
a good transition.
Wow. I've been told if you want to wakeboard the bet, you got to go down to see our people in Australia.
Oh. Okay, can you make
Martin
that
Garcia,
happen?
I don't know if you're watching right now. But,
actually, I have surfed in the Dominican Republic.
Hey, Kyle,
that's a different sport. So.
Oh, is that not what we're talking about?
Hey, guys.
Hang on, let me check the doc. I need to check my notes.
I'll be honest with you. I like surfing as well. I also like Australia. So if he's got to go, man, I'll go there in a heartbeat. Take my wife and I. Hey, get my kiddos and everything.
That'd be fantastic.
Hey, speaking of international ministry and Word of Life around the world.
Yes.
That was an amazing segue, because we want to talk about real quick the 1-for-1.
Yeah,
it's something that we mentioned briefly earlier, but we want to explain to you a little bit more about it, and then we're going to talk about what God is doing around the world internationally with the Word of Life.
But I think we've got a video.
We do, but first,
Oh,
we have another giveaway.
you have another giveaway. Wow. Wow. Can Kevin read the name of this
Absolutely.
person?
Let me just.
I don't know, can I?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about your literacy level.
Yeah, I know, right?
Kyle, I'm gonna shoot you the next winner, real quick.
Ixnay on the.
Peter coming in.
My word, guys. Wow. Yeah, I forgot to mention, we actually had someone watching the show who's local make coffee and run it over here to campus specifically because Tommy complained that I forgot to get it. So thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Who also works with international ministries for our healthcare teams and as well as other
cared
short-term
for our
missions.
health and
he cared for our health.
Did he not know that Emily and I were on the show?
I thought he had more coming, but
I think there's more. I think
it's out there for you guys.
This is why I'm not sure my story matters.
Wow.
Well, I have a friend who will help
send
you
us the name.
dispel that lie.
The name has just come to Kyle. Kyle, if you want to show him on your phone, the winner, the next person has won a Target gift card that we'll be shooting to them digitally. Target.
Ooh.
My wife loves Target and constantly we're getting things from Amazon and Target, and so that's why we picked these gift cards.
Noah Durham. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's the wrong name. Wrong name. That's my son's name. All right. Are we ready? Are we
This is
ready,
the
we're
real
ready.
one. This is the real one.
Real name. Here we go.
Hope Durham.
No, Kyle.
All right. Here we go. Mike Eaton.
Mike Eaton.
Mike Eaton.
Mike
Hey,
Eaton.
I gotta ask.
we know Mike Eaton.
Is that Mike Eaton, the youth pastor?
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, absolutely.
that's him.
Wow,
He
Pastor
entered the
Mike
comments.
Eaton.
I
Wow.
mean, he did so much work. I went through random number generator, found his name, no idea who he was. Tommy and Kyle are both apparently
Friends
know
with
who
him.
he is.
Wait,
I
you went through the random generator and then found his name?
Yeah, I did
said-
a random generator, and then I went
okay.
specifically and picked out the people I wanted. No, it's just like, I was like, it was
And
all completely
somehow
random.
it was
we
somebody
promise.
from his friendship level, you
Yeah,
know, that,
Isn't
that
it so
just kinda-
convenient? So convenient. Yeah, my wife won the AirPods. and
That's
so-
weird. That's weird because I thought my son won the Xbox, and I
Yeah.
was just so excited.
These are all pseudonyms.
Yeah. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, congratulations,
My
Mike.
wife did not win.
Fantastic
just
job.
Mike.
Hey,
I feel like
seriously
I
though.
won the jackpot, getting to be with all these wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Hey David. Hey David. Just leave. Wow. Hey, no, seriously though, would love to put you guys into contact with international ministries and some other ones because I know
Absolutely.
your heartbeat with what you're doing isn't just here for students in the States, but is worldwide. And so,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I know you guys have a lot of free time, you know.
Well, I mean, the curriculum that we put out, Scarred for Good, it's a book that you literally just take the book. All the videos are online. It's based off of the film Miracle Matt, and so anyone can go through it individually. You could take a group through it, and you don't need me or Emily or Matt. You know,
Oh,
and you
don't
just-
count yourself out, man. Come
No,
on.
I'm just- I mean, I'm all inside of it. You know, just take yourself through the book, and hopefully by the end of it, you know what your story is.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, like we said, we are in 80 different countries worldwide.